The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing? Shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King the Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shining, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light. Jumping up, Dolly Vision streaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness, like, share, subscribe. Jack's on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing? Shadows crawl. People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King the Beat. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shining, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on air light.
YouTube, where's the babies? Where's the babies? That is the question we are asking today. You can see in the title, The Search in Jack and Lilly Sullivan. That is the topic we're going to be discussing today. But first, I'm going to need you guys to leave your DNA all over that like button, okay? Just in case you go missing and the damn Canadian popo can't find you, Dolly's going to have to come track you down, okay? So I'm going to need your DNA on file. Hit that damn like button, people. Also, if you're brand new and you're watching out there and you're not subbed up to the channel yet, sub up. We're like 35 people away from hitting 65,000 people. That's a lot of people. I can't count past 6, but that's 65,000 people have subbed up the channel and rang that bell for notifications. Also, we're doing one of our biggest giveaways we have done on the channel yet to one lucky subscriber. We've given away plenty of t-shirts and hoodies and things like that. But at the end of August, we're giving away a brand new iPhone 16 to one lucky subscriber. Now, if you're already subscribed, you don't have to do anything to enter. You're already in it to win it. Okay? Hold on, I have a call coming in. Hold on, give me 1 second, guys. This is okay, never mind. It ain't that important. They can leave a message. So, like I said, we're doing one of our biggest giveaway yet, and all you have to do is be subbed to the channel. That is it, okay? So, let me give my warnings before I get into this. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing as fact. It's just my opinion, completely satire. The caller's opinions today are theirs and theirs alone, not to reflect on the Dolly. Everyone's innocent to proven guilty in a court of law. And the biggest one of them all, don't try to be Dolly at home. It's dangerous. Okay. I done said that so many times, I'm getting pretty damn good at it. Just right off the top of the head, okay? So, today I want to talk about a huge red flag that the Canadian police had to have noticed, okay? They had to have noticed. The boot prints at the end of the driveway, okay? That is the last place that we have any signs that the kids could have possibly been. Now, here's one thing. We don't know if the boot print is brand new or if the boot print is old from previous days prior, because apparently Jack and Lilly wore those boots a lot. You know, the purple dinosaur boot is basically what the print is from, was that purple dinosaur boot of Jack's. Now, it appears that the footprint ends at the end of the driveway because it looks like these kids were possibly placed into a car. Now, I don't know what made them think with the footprint ending at the driveway that these kids could have possibly been in those woods. Okay. Now, if you're not familiar with the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case and you're brand new here or something, or you've lived in a cave for the past few weeks, you never know. It could happen. They went missing out of Pictou County, Nova Scotia, less than 3 weeks ago. We're going on 3 weeks now with no trace. They were home with their mother, the mother's boyfriend, which some people are calling the stepdad, his mother, and his brother. So there's 4 people on the property, and these kids allegedly slip out the house through a sliding glass door in the back that makes absolutely no noise. Okay, it's quiet as a church mouse. Okay, it don't make a sound. But they live in an old rickety ass trailer that looks like it's about to collapse with a dirty ass yard. Just facts. Okay, right. Clean your yard. Clean your damn yards, people. Okay, if you got that much debris, it looked like a death trap for a kid. To be honest, it looked like a walking tetanus shot. It truly did. So behind that is a old camper that the mother and the brother were living in. Okay, the mother of the stepfather, not the Malehya. We've been saying her name the whole time wrong. We thought it was Malehya, but apparently it's malehya. So Daniel's son, his family lived in this little camper behind the house. And the crazy thing was, if you was to go out the sliding glass door, you would be directly in front of where they're staying. So, you know, around 10 a.m., these kids were reported missing, and the story has changed a few different times. Okay. Originally, they had slept in, they woke up earlier that morning, but they were in and out of sleep till about 10 a.m. when they noticed the kids were gone, and they immediately called the authorities. Later on, the story had changed that the kid had peeked in, Lilly had peeked into the room early that morning and said that Jack was in the kitchen. Okay. And then Daniel said as soon as he didn't hear Jack in the kitchen, he immediately ran out, jumped in his car, started searching coverts, dead end roads, the streets around the surrounding the house. Okay. The problem with that is, why didn't he search the house? Why didn't he search around the property? He just instantly knew these kids were gone. You know, he didn't say, well, I looked under the trailer, I looked in the barn, I went to my mom's camper and see if they were in there. He didn't check any of these places. He instantly jumped in his car and took off and was gone for a pretty good minute, and then shortly got back after the police were there. Which to me is odd, because the first thing I would do if the kids were missing, Helena. There you go, and welcome aboard the Blessed Express this morning. You know, you riding with the best when you on the Blessed Express, and make sure you get you a nice window seat on the train today. Thank you, Helena, for being here with us. That is awesome of you. Thank you for the support. So he didn't search the immediate area where the kids were. We know he got up and left that morning, and there's a boot print at the end of the driveway. Now, there's no boot prints anywhere else. There's no boot prints leading to the woods. There's no boot prints by the woods. But yet, you know, you got hundreds of people out there searching these woods with drones, helicopters, planes. And I believe that the police, you know, a lot of people have been giving the Canadian popo, the mounted popo, a little bit of a hard time. I think they did a fairly good job of searching these woods in the first week. Okay. Now, think about if you go in to search some woods and you spend a week doing it with hundreds of people. You've searched acres and acres, miles and miles of woods, and they've done that without even a trace of these kids. No boot prints. And some of these areas are almost non-passable. That means the trees are so close together that people have to break branches to go through it. And they're not seeing broken branches and footsteps or anything that's been disturbed in these woods that would indicate that kids may have passed through that area. So the police have said early on, 7 days in, they scaled the search back saying, hey, the probability of these children being alive at this point is very slim because, they ain't had no food, no water, no means of, they're not outdoorsmen at 4 and 6 years old, right? So they have no way to really survive in the woods on their own. And how far could the kids have actually gotten if the police had showed up 30 minutes after they didn't hear the children? And that's alleged to them, okay? So we know Lily was a screamer. Jack's a kid. If they would have gotten those woods and they'd have got lost, they would have started crying, making noise. And when you're in the middle of nowhere, you hear everything for miles. Okay. You can hear you hear crickets, frogs. It ain't like living in the city where, car noise and truck noise and trains drowned out stuff. I mean, you can actually hear, it's like in the holler. You can holler from one mountain to the other mountain. That's why they call it, the holler. You hear everything out in the middle of nowhere because there's no noise. Just like you see the stars real good because there's no street lights. Stuff don't get drowned out. They would have heard those kids in the woods. So it's evident at this point that them kids never went into those woods. That means there's only 2 options left on the table. That boot print leading to the driveway is because someone took them out to the car, put them in a vehicle, and they left. Okay. Now, option 2, someone just happened to be out there that would hurt a child or kidnap a child just in the middle of nowhere. Like, oh, this is a good place for a kidnapper. And them kids had to happen to get out at the exact same time that a kidnapper was just passing through Pictou County and seen them. The odds of that are very slim. So the odds are in the favor that somebody in that house took those kids and put them in the car. Thank you, Angela, for becoming a member. That is awesome. Welcome to the Blessed Express. Come aboard. That's 2 ways you donate or join up. You get on the Blessed Express today. Look, when you get on the Blessed Express, it's guaranteed that your day is going to be awesome. Okay. So if you want to have a good day, jump on the Blessed Express and good luck will flow your way. Okay. Well, that's what I tell everybody anyway. I don't know. It could happen, right? It could. I ain't going to say it won't. Okay. I ain't going to say it won't. So you want good things to come to you? There you go. But they say if you do good in this world, you put some good out there, good energy out into the world, you get that good energy back. Okay. So if you want a little bit of that good energy back, jump on the Blessed Express today. Or, sub up, help us hit 65,000 subscribers because I think we can hit it today. And thank you guys that have been subbing up the channel. All my new brothers and sisters from Canada and, different provinces in Canada. Welcome to the channel. It's awesome to have you here. We're praying for you guys. Just know that us in the States, we have your back. We all children, no matter where they're from, are just as important as every other child. Every life matters here. Okay. And I got their pictures up today because there were some rumors that are circulating. Now, these are rumors. I'm going to tell you this, right? That there may have been a sighting of Lily, right? Which I find crazy. People, listen, I don't know if it's true. I don't think it is. But somebody was saying in one of these groups that somebody possibly seen Lily at a hotel in California. And first thing it made me think is, welcome to Hotel California. Right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, I don't know, but it never hurts to keep an eye out. So if people out there saying they may have seen something, or, we never know. We could be wrong. So I figured the best thing to do is to continue to share their pictures so people in the States, right, can know what these children look like, burn these faces into your mind, and know what they look like, just in case for some strange reason they handed these kids off to somebody and this is like a PR stunt or something, or somebody did abduct these kids and they are out there somewhere, right? Now, do I really think that these kids are somewhere in California or anything like that? No, I think there's some type of foul play. Is it impossible? No. These kids could be anywhere in the United States. They could be anywhere in Canada. And at this point, 2 weeks in, going on 3 weeks, shit, they could be anywhere in the world. So, just same thing for our international viewers out here. Burn these kids' faces into your mind. And if you see something, hear something, or even suspect something, reach out to the Pictou County authorities and let them know. You never know. The littlest thing could break a case, and it wouldn't be the first time it's happened, right? But me, myself, I hate to, point fingers at the parents, but they're very suspicious to me, right? Very, very suspicious to me. I knew from the beginning, and I've been saying it, that I didn't believe those kids were in the woods. So when the police went out there and they did that second search, I was pretty confident, and I didn't want to jinx anything, so I didn't say it much, that those kids were not in those woods. Now, we've had a lot of people up here say they would never leave their kids behind. Women would say, I wouldn't pack up. I would deal with Daniel until we found our kid, and then I would move on. But she broke up with her baby daddy during this, okay, while the family is out there in the front yard having an altercation with each other, the families blaming each other. Okay, so people are starting to point the fingers at, Daniel, and Daniel's people are pointing the fingers the other way. And I believe that Malehya is telling a little bit of a lie in her family, that the police told her not to talk. I do not believe that. Now, the police ain't going to come out and say, well, yeah, we did tell her that, because the police in Canada seem to keep everything really tight to the chest. They don't say much. A lot of people say once, it is solved or whatever, whenever they make an arrest, then they'll come out and give a report, like they have in other cases. So Canada don't have a whole lot of transparency with their police, not quite like what we have here in America, which we don't have a lot of transparency here. Okay, police don't really tell us. They lie to us, right? They just straight up look at the Brian Kohlberger situation. They straight up said, yeah, we don't have no suspects. They didn't want to scare the community. But then again, they had a killer running loose, right? Which is important that you tell the community. Now, if there's somebody out there in Nova Scotia that's kidnapping, hurting children, they need to make this aware to the public, right? Just like in Fruitland, Idaho, not Fruitland, but in Boise. Was it Boise? Moscow, my bad. I'm all over the place today. Moscow, Idaho. They said, hey, we don't know who killed the 4 students. We don't, the roommates were asleep in the house. They didn't see nothing, didn't hear nothing in the basement. Well, when it all came out, they did see somebody. They seen a man dressed in black, right, with a mask on in the house. She heard the screaming, heard the crying. They were in the basement all night, and they called the police 8 hours later. So the police completely lied to us here in the States. They don't even have to tell us the truth. It's almost better to say nothing than to straight up lie to the public, because what it does is when you lie to the public, it makes me not want to believe anything that the police say, okay? Because they can lie to you. They don't even got to closely tell you the truth here in America. Even when they're interrogating you, they don't have to tell you the truth. They can walk right in there and say, hey, your wife said you did it. You hid the body. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. And they can tell you that. They don't have to be honest. They don't have to be anything. And they can go tell that to the wife. Your husband said, you did this. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. And do you want to go down for him? And they pit you against each other. So you talk and you tell on each other. And then they'll be like, well, all right, you confessed. And it don't matter if they lied to you to get that confession, what they told you to get that confession. It just matters that you confessed. Now, I don't really know if Canadian police work the same way because I'm not from Canada. I've been getting a lot of comments that say, Dolly, you don't know shit about Canada. And I'm telling you guys, I don't know shit about Canada. I don't know why you're leaving them comments. I'm making it clear I don't. But you know what I am doing? I am learning about Canada. All right. So you can leave a comment that says, damn, Dolly, you're learning about Canada, right? Not that I don't know. Everybody, it's clear that I've never been to damn Canada. I don't know all the Canadian laws. I don't know how your Mountie Popo works and stuff like that. But some people that, you know, they just like, oh, let me say something mean to this guy that's trying to spread awareness for kids that are going missing from your country. Okay. I'm trying to help you guys out the best I can. I'm not the most knowledgeable person on Canada. Okay. I'm not. I've never been there. I've been close. I've been to damn Niagara Falls and I can see Canada. They just wouldn't let me in. I didn't have a passport. Okay. We got 968 people in the room and only 374 likes. Oh my God, that is not good. That is not a good start, people. Okay, that is not a good start. But look, take a second, hit the like button for me. If you're watching out there, sub up the channel, help us hit 65. You can be like, Dolly, I helped you hit 65,000 people. And I'm gonna be like, yes, you're awesome, right? So, and if you ever meet me out in public, I'll buy you a drink. How about that? Soda, beer, mixed drink. You can be like, hey, Dolly, I subbed you up on your channel. And that means I owe you one drink. It could be a Coca-Cola. It could be a Dr. Pepper. It could be a Corona. I don't care, you know, but I owe you one. Okay. I owe you one, at least a soda. All right. So you come up to me and be like, Dolly, where's my damn drink at? I'm thirsty. I'll be like, all right, hold on. Let me get you one. Let me get you one. Let me get you one. Okay. Yeah, Jimmy going to buy me a Pepsi. You got to find me first now, right? If I see you coming, I'm going to be high and be like, oh, shit. I don't feel like running and get this dude a soda. I'm going to be like ducking and weaving, right? I'll be like, I ain't Dolly. I'm somebody else. I'm playing. So, but what I ain't playing about is these kids are missing. This is super serious that we continue to share their images, continue to share their photos, because it does look like they left that property in a vehicle. Now, we're not going to speculate if they left that in that property alive or deceased. Okay. I think that's just taking a little too far. Let's pray to God if they were taken from that property, they were taken alive. But statistically, usually when people take people away, it's usually not good. But let's just think, you know, we talked about last night, could they have handed these kids off to somebody? Could they have sold these kids?
PJ Vision for all your efforts to find missing children. Purple hug emoji.
Thank you, Carla. And it says, thank you, Dolly PJ, for all your efforts to find missing children. We do our best to, you know, to bring awareness and search where we can in places we can, when we can financially afford to do those things. Just financially, I can't afford to search all the time or be on the road all the time, because when we're on the road, it's super expensive. Everything from food to hotels to just everything super expensive. So we do it in little spurts. Like we'll go out for about a week and then we'll go out for another week. And we try to do that as much as we can. And so thank you guys for everybody that supports the channel. You guys are the ones that make that possible. The next place I'm going is, I think I'm going to Florida next. Okay. We're going down to cover the Stephen Stearns trial. Well, I am. I'm going to fly down and I'm going to be down there for, I don't know exactly if I'm going to be there a few days or a week. It depends on the price of everything. Right? If hotels are really expensive, I'm probably going to be there 3 or 4 days. If it's affordable, like I can find something affordable, I'm probably going to be there a little bit longer. Okay. So it's all just, you know, we got a certain budget that we try to stay in when I do these trips. Cause you know, we're not a rich channel. We ain't Mr. Beast here. Okay. So we got to budget everything that we do. And depending on that, I'll determine how long that I'm at. That'll start in August. So how long I'm going to be there. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to Colorado for a weekend. for CrimeCon. Okay. And then from there, I'm going to Idaho for the Brian Kohlberger trial. So we're going to be doing a lot of traveling this year. We're going to get some air miles in, that's for sure. And we're going to bring you some of the top stuff in true crime here to this channel from location. Okay. So make sure to sub up, tune in, all that good stuff and support that. And, you know, that lets us know that y'all enjoy that type of content. If nobody watches it, why should I fly to Florida? You know what I'm saying? So make sure y'all guys tune in for all that coverage of, you know, and the Kohlberger trial is supposed to be one of the biggest trials of the damn, you know, the century, you know, murdered for, you know, I believe still to this day that he is a serial killer. I do. I truly do. But I don't want to get too off track from the kids. These kids could be out there somewhere. Did they hand them off to somebody? If they sold them to somebody, just say there was a family that was like, hey, I want to adopt your kids, but instead of doing the right thing and them going through an adoption agency to adopt the children out, they just said, okay, we'll basically sell you the kids. You know, give us this or take the kids. Maybe they didn't sell them all. Maybe they gave the kids away because they were a lot to handle and they were a young couple with 3 kids. You know, you think, well, Daniel dealt with the kids for 2 years because him and malehya, I still call her malehya. Malehya is her name. You know, they were together for 3 years, right? And 2 of them years, she lived there at the trailer. So these kids had been at that trailer for 2 years. So it ain't like, you know, this is something new to, you know, and Daniel got frustrated and maybe unalived the kids because he had been dealing with these kids already for a couple years. So why on year 3 would he just be like, oh, well, it's time to get rid of the kids? I mean, I don't know. Subscribe, like, and become a member, says Sheila. Thank you. 38 months. You've been here with us, damn, over 3 years. Okay. 36 months would have been 3 years. So you've been here with us 3 years, 2 months of straight just Dolly's face. You need a trophy. Okay. I need to make some trophies for people that have been here that long looking at my ugly ass face. Damn. Either you're blind or you got the patience of a saint. Okay. But thank you guys for supporting and being here. And like I said, we try to do the best we can with what we're working with. Like I said, some people be like, well, you know, you don't know nothing about Canada, but I know about missing kids. Okay. I've been doing missing kids right now for, you see right there. Sheila's been with us for 38 months. That's 38 months of me sleuthing, searching, going out in the woods, getting bit by ticks, bugs, you know, lakes, you name it. We have been through it in the last 3.5 years. I mean, court cases, murder cases, everything you can think of. Dolly has done it in the last 3 years, from all kind of cases to missing men, missing women, missing kids, bodies being found. You know, like some of the stuff that we've done in this last 3 years have blown my mind. It's things that I'll never forget in my whole entire life. And I've been on location for some of the worst things ever. Like when they found Angela Hook's body in the trunk of that car that we were at. Oh my God, that was bad. That was bad. I was out there with her father, Jim, and we had been searching the woods all day. And she had an altercation, for you guys that don't know. She had an altercation with her baby daddy. All right. She got in an altercation. The baby daddy dropped the kid off at the grandma's house. Okay. Which is Jim's family. They have the kid still. Thank God. Right. So this was a man he happened to be from Kingsport, Tennessee, but this took place in a rural area in Virginia. So Jim was asking for help, and I hit him up. I said, look, man, you know, I look for missing people. I'll come out and help you. And so me and Jim get out there, and you can tell a real parent of a missing kid. Jim was going through sticker bushes, ditches, creeks. This man, I mean, we were sweating like it was bad. And in that time that me and Jim was out there searching, I hate to say it, I grew pretty close with this man. and his family in a short amount of time because it's such a traumatic situation, and we're doing everything we can to try to find answers. Well, we're in the woods, right? And then something, you know how you grow on people, and Jim looks at me in the middle of these woods by this graveyard, and he goes, "Look, man, there's something I ain't telling you." And I'm like, "What you ain't telling me, Jim?" Right? And he's like, "Look, the police are more focused on this other area and near this person's home." And I looked at him, I said, "Well, Jim, why ain't we searching that area? Right? Why are we over here?" He's like, "You're right. Let's go over there." And I was like, "Okay." So me and Jim jump in the car. We drive to the area. There's a big patch of woods that's directly across from her baby daddy's house. So we in these woods. So I'm trying to cover as much area as we can. So at some point, me and Jim split up in the woods. Okay. And Jim, believe it or not, sees the baby's daddy. Okay. And he attacks. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He attacks the baby daddy. Okay. He attacks the baby daddy, and he tries to put a cigarette out in his eye. Okay. He's attacking him. The vehicle's there. And shortly after that, okay, the police come, because there's that altercation. They pop the trunk of the car, and his daughter is deceased in the trunk of the car. Yeah, I don't blame Jim either. But he runs back up into the woods, and he's like, we gotta go. But it was enough to get the police there, and that continued their search of the vehicle, and they found Avra Hooks' body in the trunk of that car, which is crazy, right? Crazy. But they found her body when we were out there that day. And, just some of the things that I've seen over the last 3 years and experience, from Blaylani throwing her baby in the trash to being on the hill with Don and Candace Wells to just looking back at the time we've been here. It seems to me like it's been short, and we have done so much in those. Even the dude, remember the naked dude that was running through the woods, the boy in Richmond, the kid in the ice, it's been the little girl that stayed at the house and actually survived. That was a good story. She had ran away from home, and she was like 9, and she had stayed in an abandoned trailer, and everybody thought she was dead. And she showed up at a neighbor's house, asking could she do some work so she could make some money for some food at 9 years old. So things happen. Miracles like that little girl, she survived. She was able to find somewhere to stay and crash. And is it possible that Lilly could do something like that at 6 years old? Now, the little girl that did it here was 9 years old. She found an abandoned trailer. They went up in the abandoned trailer, and she was staying by herself in the abandoned trailer and wasn't scared. Okay. So all kids, you would think kids would be too scared to go all into these woods and things like that. But some kids ain't. Like the kid that went missing here, I forget her name. I'd probably think of it in a little while. But like I said, she left her home. She didn't get far from her home, within a couple miles. And she was staying in an abandoned trailer. And when she got hungry, she knocked on the neighbor's door to the abandoned trailer and wanted to rake her yard or something to earn some money so she could get some food. And of course, she happened to knock on the right door, and that lady immediately notified the authorities. Okay. And of course, the authorities rushed there, got the little girl, gave a big news conference in the situation. And but the family was real thankful for everybody that went out there and helped and looked and searched. So these people that are out there, in these woods, in this dangerous terrain, listen, if you've been in any serious, thick woods, it's pretty dangerous, right? Like even these mountains and stuff that I've been going into in Tennessee is pretty dangerous. And, I learned a lot from when I first started searching for people to now, because in the beginning I used to go out in the woods by myself searching for people. I just go right out in the woods like it ain't nothing. But then, a lot of the locals in Tennessee, especially Hawkins County, they were like, look, man, we're glad you're doing what you're doing, but you could go out there and really get hurt, right? There's mines, there's wells, and that's the thing about there too. There's same type of stuff. You got these wells that you can fall into, caverns that you can fall into. And next thing you know, you're the one missing and we're searching for you, so anytime you go out into the woods, make sure somebody knows your location at all times. So now a lot of times when I go out into the woods, we have CB radios, and I'll leave, if I separate, I'll leave one with somebody and I let them know my location at all times. It's a safety thing. It's just a safety thing. And still there's things I can't do. I can't rappel, right? So you'll get to a lot of these places where there's straight damn drops that there's no way to really search them. So that way I knew, then I realized, I was like, okay, well, I need drones because there's places I can't physically get to. So now, I do all the drone, and I'm actually got really good at flying drones and flying them low and being able to search fields and different things for droning. So I don't know if you know this, but they have things on the drones where, we seen the video last night of people actually calling out to the kids. The guy was screaming, kids, right? Kids. He was looking for any kids, right? But he was basically out there looking for Jack and Lily, but he was screaming kids. They have a speaker box that you can hook to these drones. So when you're flying the drone, you can be going, Jack, Lily, we're trying to find you. Jack, Lily, where are you at? And it broadcasts it. It ain't big, but the police have bigger drones than I do. Guys, give me 1 second. I think I got a package that's just got delivered from Amazon. So my dogs are going crazy. Give me 1 second. Okay, not Amazon, but it was the trash man. And speaking of trash man, a lot of people are rumoring they had this spring cleanup going on in parts of Nova Scotia and Canada. Now, like I said, I'm not from there, and I don't know if these people have trash like that gets picked up. For all I know, they could burn their trash or take it to the dump. Okay, but people are saying that there's certain parts of Canada where they send out trash trucks for bulk pickup. Now, we've seen that they have a lot of debris at their house. I mean, old ovens, this shit everywhere, okay? And we, here in the States, we have a big problem with kids ending up in the landfill, okay? And that's never good. We've seen it too many times. There you go. I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it. And thank you, Helena. Thank you. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Thank you for the support. And we got 1,200 of you here. Okay. So if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. If you ain't subbed up yet, we're probably like less than 30 people away from hitting 65,000. So if you're just tuning in, I know I've already said it, but if you're just tuning in or you're just coming into the room, so help us out. You could be the person to help us hit 65,000 today. We're on that road to 100K, right? And I need to get that little plaque to hang on my wall back here. So I can't do that guy without you guys. I've been on YouTube longer than some people have been to college. Okay, you know what I'm saying? If this was I'd be a doctor. If I would have took all the time and just went to college instead of YouTube, I would be a doctor right now. All right. I've been on YouTube almost 7 years. So collectively between my channels, I have over 100,000 subscribers. But on this one channel here, which is my biggest channel, my true crime channel, I don't have 100,000. So I'm trying to reach that 100,000 here. But collectively between this channel,
Subscribe so Dolly can reach 65K.
Helena, thank you. You don't got to donate every time you talk, no. You know what I'm saying? But thank you so much. Thank you. Big virtual hugs to you. Big virtual hugs to you. I read most of everybody's comments anyway. So listen, if you can afford to donate, awesome. If you can't, I love all you guys the same. You know. Thank you, Aunt. Thank you, Aunt. That is, see, there we go. Now we are closer to that 65. Brittany, thank you. Thank you, Brittany. See, Brittany's awesome. You could be awesome like Brittany too. All you got to do is sub up, right? And we'll hit that 65 today, and then we'll be on the road to 66,000. So where did these kids go? Were they handed off to somebody? Did somebody get rid of them? But I don't believe they went no farther than that driveway where that last boot print ended. Okay. So either the parents know something. Thank you so much for subbing. Either the parents know something or a complete stranger grabbed these kids from the driveway. Now, I doubt the kids, if they would have got out, they would have went to the front of the house, because there seems like, you know, they had slides and toys in the back. They had a little picnic table. It seems like the kids would have played out back. And if they were in the back of that trailer, even if you was driving by it, you wouldn't be able to see them because the trailer blocks it. Okay. And it's fenced in. It has a wired fence. And then it has, they're building a new fence at the house. And they're saying, well, you know, the kids slipped through the fence and just magically vanished. And a lot of people are real skeptical of the four-wheeler that the brothers own. That is awful clean. Okay. Like they took, you know, the yard dirty as hell, but they got this spotless four-wheeler that's been really clean, considering they have been riding through Appalachian. Thank you so much for your donation, super sticker. $4.99. Dolly get to eat today. Okay. I actually get to eat today. Where's the babies? That is absolutely the question. So at this point, I'm kind of ruling out that there's even a possibility that these kids went into those woods. I don't really think the kids slipped out the house. Now, this is just my opinion, people. I don't have any proof of this, you know, but I believe that behavior is a really big indication of what's going on. And Malehya, her behavior doesn't make any sense for a mother. Most mothers would be grieving, crying. We're talking tears falling on the ground, snot bubbles, you know what I'm saying? Inconsolable if there's one of their kids were missing, but two of their kids missing and then don't shed a tear. Dolly, it's true. Okay, right here. Dolly, it's true that someone spotted them in California. These are rumors I'm hearing, right? Somebody left it on a comment on my last video. If you go look, you know, there's somebody that left a comment saying, hey, I was in one of these forums and there's people saying that they saw Lilly at a hotel in California. Now, I don't know how true that is. I don't think that's the case. Me, myself. All right. Is it possible? Absolutely. These kids could be anywhere. We know they ain't in them woods. They ain't in that trailer and they're not in them woods. That means they're somewhere else. Gina, thank you, Gina, for becoming subbing up to the channel. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. So we know they ain't in the woods, and we know they ain't in the trailer. Where are they at? Right? They didn't just vanish into thin air. And maybe it is a case of, I don't know. Maybe, I guess some of you guys may be possibly right that they gave the kids away to somebody, or they sold the kids, or, I mean, I don't quite know. I just know that these kids are not at that house and they're not in them woods. They could be anywhere. I don't know if the parents unalived the kids, because the police haven't said anything about any signs of foul play. But according to most Canadian people that's been in the room, even if they had signs of foul play, they wouldn't tell us. What is his brother's name? I don't know. I know he has 2 brothers. He has a couple brothers. One of the brothers has a few kids himself and is married, and the other brother lives on the property. Okay. So I'm not quite sure what his brother's name is. To me, is brother weirdo. Okay. You can't pick your family, you know. If he did something and they don't know, is it their fault? I mean, you can't pick your family. You can have, there's a lot of people in here that have crazy family members, right? When you're born, you don't get to pick what family you come into. But just because you got crazy family members, or, you know, that don't mean you're crazy, right? Like there's a lot of families that out there that their family members do horrible things, murder people, rape people, do all kinds of shit. That don't mean that you got to follow that same path, right? So it's possible that Daniel could be good and his brother be a shitbag, okay? It can happen. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but if I was the police, I would definitely be suspicious. And thank you, Jazzy Girl, for becoming a member of him, right? Just how it's behavior. It's behavior. Their behavior is odd. I think Daniel overdoes it. And, you know, we've learned that from the dispatch calls that him and his brother were going up to the command center, you know, asking them what they have found. Now, that could be innocent, right? You could say, well, that's just innocent. They want to know. They're hopeful that something may come up. But I think they're trying to get ahead of things. Me, myself. I think it's overdoing it. Some people may disagree with that and say, well, you know, that's a concerned parent right there. That's somebody that wants to know if anything's happening, you know. But when the police want you to know something, usually they'll tell you. So I think they're trying to be overly involved. And to me, one thing that really stood out to me was the fake crying. Now, if he was really crying, he wasn't crying invisible tears. Okay, they had to be invisible tears because I didn't see one. Right. And I seen Malehya do her interview and I didn't see one tear. Not one. Did anybody out here ever see these people cry? One tear between the two of them, right? A half a tear here and a half a tear there would make one whole tear. Has anybody seen one tear come out of these people's face? Right. And I think Malehya's lying her ass off. And the way she talks about her kids, like it's no big deal that they're missing. It blows my mind. I mean, it is completely shocking to me that this woman has no emotion towards her 2 missing children, right? If between the 2 of them, neither one of them put out a half a tear, okay, to even form a whole tear. Let's see what this says. Do you think rug can help not have drug? Do you think drugs could help? Yes. But here's the problem. If your kids go missing, why would you start taking drugs? Or if you're on drugs, that's another red flag when your kids go missing. You strung out on drugs. But when they did the interviews, they seemed like they wasn't under the influence of nothing. They seemed sober. I've said that the whole time. Like every interview you watch of Daniel, because everybody says Daniel's on drugs. I'm like, he looks sober. He looks straight, right? I mean, I didn't know him before this, but he don't appear to be under the influence of anything. He's not erratic. if he shedded some real tears, I'd probably believe him, right? His demeanor is thankful the kids have been kidnapped. He almost comes off as truthful. It's the fake crying that gets me. Okay. If he would have shed some real tears, I'd probably believe this guy is innocent. But when he started fake crying and rubbing his eyes and there won't nothing there, I was like, yeah, he's lying. But if he is lying, he's good at it. Okay, because he's almost believable. Now the mama, oh my God, right? The mom is not even close to believable. I don't like. I listen to her and I'm like, hey, wow, right? Like it's no big deal, nonchalant, right? Like you got 2 missing kids. I'd be freaking the hell out, right? I'd be freaking out. My kid's grown. I'd be tripping. I don't know how people can remain so calm and collective. I mean, I know you need to be somewhat calm to get the message out, but did anybody see any pain or sorrow? Right? I ain't saying she got to be this while she's doing the interview, but I didn't feel no pain from her, no sorrow, nothing. Right? And to me, another huge flag. And like I said, them kids, that dogs never track to the woods. We got a footprint at the end of the driveway. It's almost like these kids walked to a car and vanished. I believe cadaver dogs should be all up in them cars. They need to be checking these vehicles better. They need to be asking the public for help if they've seen any of these vehicles. Here's a prime example. They knew Maddie Soto was in the car with Stephen Stearns. They knew that. Okay. They had it on video of her being in the car, but they didn't know where he went. They had no clue to where Stephen Stearns took Maddie Soto's body. So what they did is they came out and asked the help of the public. Hey, we need to know if you've seen this vehicle. If you see all their vehicles, if you've seen any of these vehicles. If you have, let us know where you've seen them at. Well, somebody driving down the street seen Stephen Stearns changing the tire of his Lincoln. Okay. And they remembered it because it was on the side of the road in a rural place. And they called the authorities and said, hey, I seen a Lincoln on the side of the road with a flat tire. So the police went to that location where this person reported seeing that vehicle. And then within 25 yards of where the vehicle was, they found Maddie Soto's body underneath some trees. Okay. Now, if it wasn't for the help of the public, we may still be looking for Maddie Soto's body. Okay. But that person was actually paying attention to his surroundings and was able to see that vehicle. Now, if there's footprints at the end of the driveway, Sunshine, thank you so much. There's footprints at the end of the driveway and these kids are gone. That means these kids got into a vehicle. Okay. So you need to be asking the public there in Pictou County and surrounding areas. What is it? Prince Edward Island. And see, I'm learning a little bit about Canada, right? And in these major cities that are not covering as much, we need to ask them to help us with identifying these vehicles and where they may have seen the vehicles. Now, it could be harmless and the vehicles didn't do anything. But what if they did? Because right now they're not treating it as an abduction. They never issued the Amber Alert or anything like that, which I believe myself that needs to be changed because there's certain criteria you got to meet before Amber Alert can be issued. There has to be extreme danger. There has to be signs of abduction, and there has to be a vehicle. Okay. But that ain't always the case. Sebastian Rogers went missing in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He's 15 years old. There was no signs of abduction. There was no vehicle, and they still issued an Amber Alert. It's a Providence. Okay. I'm learning. Okay. Teach me. Don't bitch at me. Right? Educate me. Right? Educate me. That's the best way to say it. Don't bitch at me. Educate me. Tell me. Let me know. Teach me something. All right. I want to learn about Canada. I'm going to be visiting soon. So there was none of that stuff in the Sebastian Rogers case. Okay. We can't forget that little boy either. I know a lot of people on YouTube streets have stopped talking about him. But no, you know, an Amber Alert went out for him. And he was at the age that he could have possibly ran away and survived, even in the woods. When the kids are a certain age and they're in extreme danger from, you know, there's wolves, there's different bears and different things that may walk out in the traffic and get hit by a car. I believe they should issue an Amber Alert. I mean, all it does is make your phone beep. I ain't never got an Amber Alert and been like, damn it, I wish they wouldn't send me these Amber Alerts. I don't think people get mad. I think most people generally care about kids. Most people have kids. And if your kids were missing, you would want that for your kid. So I don't think it's an inconvenience for people to get a little text on their phone that says, hey, be on the lookout for this, right? But these police act like it's a big deal to call people. They have no problem calling you when they're doing fundraisers. Okay, I got a call from the police department just the other day where they were selling tickets to their policeman's ball or whatever the hell it is. I think they're like $25 and you know, and you can donate and they give you a sticker that you can put on your car. And usually when you put that sticker on your car, they don't pull you over. Okay. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, he donated to the police, right? They know. It's their little, you know, little sign. And you'll see people with them things on their car. How many people have seen those on people's cars where they've donated to the police and they give them that sticker? Everybody has it in their back window each year that they do it, right? And so it's when the police walk up your car, they know you support the police. They know you've donated to the police. And now that you ran that stop sign, they're going to let you slide. Okay. They're going to let you slide because you support the police. And that's how they do it. They call you up and they tell you, hey, we'll give you this sticker, you know, this little sticker, that, you know, just for a souvenir. But you know, you pay them for, you know, so they can put on their policeman ball and all that good stuff. They call me 17 times a day. See what I'm saying? They don't have no problem with calling you when they want some money. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They ain't got no problem with it. But when a kid goes missing, they don't want to bug you. We don't want to disturb the people, right? We might want to save that phone call when we need money for our damn fundraiser we're doing, right? Because the police around here have a lot of fundraisers. They do different. They have one where you can go like taste wine, but it goes to the police. Or it's like you can go out there and drink all the beer you want, and all the donations go to the police, which I find weird because, you know, they're the ones that are screaming, don't drink and drive, but yet y'all out here, you know, giving little samples of beer away. It's never made really, well, food and beer. It's food and beer. So it's like a sampling thing. You can go there and like they have all these restaurants and you can go around, they give you a little sample of their food and a little beer. It's usually in a little small like shot glass cup. But time you walk around to every vendor, I mean, you done drank a damn 12 pack and half lit. You know what I'm saying? They got bands and things like that. And that all goes to the police charities. So the police, like I said, they don't have no problem selling you tickets and calling your house. But when somebody goes missing, they don't want to do that. Halifax and Sydney are the larger cities in Nova Scotia. Okay. All right. Now I know. Now I know. See how easy that was, Sunshine? Thank you for the information. So we need to fix what's going on with the Amber Alerts. And I think this, me, myself, some of y'all may disagree. I believe when these two kids went missing, there should have been an Amber Alert. Absolutely. It should have went all across Canada. It should have went into the United States because we're neighboring countries, right? We ain't far away from, you can look over here and see Canada. Canada can look over here and see America. I think, you know, these kids are important enough that we can send out a Amber Alert through the country, and because these kids are in extreme danger. And I would say at this point, they're still in extreme danger. And I know everybody's thinking these kids are not alive. For some reason, I'm starting to think these kids are alive and they've been grabbed, or these parents have took them somewhere for some reason. I don't know, because you wouldn't be sad if you knew your kid was alive, right? Let's say you gave your kid to somebody because you couldn't handle it and you didn't want to get in trouble. Would you be on the news crying? No, right? Because you know your kid's somewhere with some people that are taking care of them. Maybe the lack of sadness is because they know the kids are out there. Either they handed them off to somebody in some type of bootleg adoption, or like people said, they sold the kids to a rich family that wanted kids. I mean, I think even if you bought kids, how do you get them into school? I mean, you can homeschool them, but how do you do anything? How do you take them to the doctor? How do you take them to the hospital if something happens? Like, you need ID and proof of who you are for almost everything you do. You can't fly nowhere. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You would need real IDs and passports and things like that. How do you do that? I guess if you're buying kids, you probably know a way to get fake ID, fake birth certificates, etc., says Tammy. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you're in that world, they know how to fake documents, you know. Yeah, either these kids were put into a vehicle with us, or unfortunately not with us, but they're definitely not in the woods. They're definitely not in the house. So I guess the important thing now is to continue to spread awareness and to continue to share the picture even more, because it looks like they were taken in a vehicle. What vehicle? I mean, it seems like that house, they had a lot of vehicles there. Even that Thursday, people are alleging that party, right? How do we know that wasn't a sell my kid party? The highest bidder, you know. I know it sounds crazy, but how do we know somebody didn't show up? How do we know that wasn't a going away party? The kids are going away. Let's throw a party. This is going to be our last time with the kids. News when this is all started. How do we know that wasn't the case and somebody came there that night and they picked up the kids? Because they're alleging this party was Thursday. Friday, the kids are gone. The day after a party. Alleged party. Now, listen, there's still no proof that there was a party. I've seen a lot of people say there was a party, a lot of cars there that day. But nobody has came out and said, yeah, I was at the party. And if you got sick kids, why would you even throw a party? Shouldn't you be taking care of your sick kid, or should you be partying? Right? It don't make a lot of sense. And their story in itself, Lily was sick, but Friday morning, they never checked on Lily. They never sent Jack to school. They never seen if Lily was okay to go to school. They never got up to cook. Randomness, thank you for being a member. We're getting close, right? We're almost there at that 65,000. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. If you're watching out there and ain't subbed up yet, sub up. We're just a few people away from 65,000. We can do it with your help, okay? It'll be your good deed for the day. You can be like, shit, I did something good today. I subbed up to Dolly. He needed the help, okay? He wanted to get to 100,000 so he could get that little plaque on his wall after 10 years of YouTubing. So, thank you, guys. The story don't make sense, you know, or they should be in jail for neglect. If they're telling the truth, they should be in jail for neglect. And neglect it's the definition of neglect. You can Google it right now. It's simply not supervising your children. You think you have to do something bad to be neglectful. Lack of supervision of your children is neglect. Google it right now. Anybody want to take a second? Google it. Not feeding your kids, not caring for your kids, not supervising your kids is neglect. Now, people say Canada's not too much different than America. Well, here your ass goes to jail for that. Neglect. Especially when children are not at the age to supervise herself. Now, a lot of people said that about Sebastian. Why ain't she in jail for neglect? Well, Sebastian was 15 years old. She could have left town and left Sebastian home alone. He's old enough to care for himself. Even though he's special needs, he's old enough to babysit other kids. Okay? So that's why there's no neglect charges in the Sebastian Rogers case. She didn't check on Sebastian either, but she don't have to. He's over a certain age. These kids are under the age of 10 years old. It is a parent's responsibility to check on their kids and know that the welfare of their children are good. How do they know Lily ain't in there sticking a fork in a damn electrical socket? They ain't checking on her. You know what I'm saying? You have to check on your kids legally. They're supposed to be supervised at all times. Kids are never supposed to be alone. It's not okay to leave your kids in the car. It ain't okay. Oh, I'm just running in the 7-Eleven to grab a drink. No, that's child neglect. Your kid is unsupervised. That is the definition of child neglect. Your kid is to be supervised at all times. It's just like if you take your dog to the park, it's supposed to be on a leash, right? At all times. You can't let it run around and fucking bite somebody. It has to be, you have to supervise these types of things, okay? At all times. There's no excuse for it. There's no excuse. The only excuse is you fucked up and you shouldn't have, right? And siblings can hurt each other. Absolutely. I went over that in yesterday's stream. I said, listen, I went and covered the Harmony Montgomery. Rest in peace to Harmony Montgomery. This is heartbreaking. There was a point in time where Harmony was accused of hurting one of Adam's other children. Okay. The uncle said that Adam backhanded Harmony in the face and blacked her eye, pitch black. Okay. Over hurting the other kid. Thank God, you know, at that time, that if she did, I'm not saying she did. I'm just saying this is the excuse. Kids have killed other kids. It's happened. Okay. There's no reason though to abuse a child that don't understand what's going on. Harmony didn't understand what's going on, and she got beat to where her eyes were black. The uncle actually called Child Protective Services. Okay. This is heartbreaking. This little girl had black eyes. The Child Protective Services pulls up to the house. I learned this in court when I was there in court in New Hampshire. He sees Adam come out the house with Harmony Montgomery. He never gets out the car. He's a mailman now. He shouldn't even be able to deliver mail. This dude could have saved Harmony Montgomery's life, but he was too fucking lazy to get out of his car. Like, they should have lined him up and let everybody in the courtroom slap the shit out of him. He failed this child. He failed at his job as a CPS worker. He said, well, I didn't know it was Harmony. Well, what other little girl is Adam Montgomery with? Right? Putting her in the car. He said, oh, they were leaving, so I didn't get out. But at this point, this little girl has black eyes from being beat by her father. And this dude didn't care enough to get out his fucking car. Like, he shouldn't have no government job. Like, the post office, they need to fire his ass. Like, I mean, he had no way of knowing that little girl would get murdered. But you already knew she was being abused. And you were too lazy to get out your car. Didn't even go talk to him. Never spoke with him. He watched them leave the house. He said it. He said, I watched him come out the house. I watched him get into the car and watched him leave. Well, if you were watching him come out of the house, why don't you just go up and say, hey, I'm with Child Protective Services. We got a report that you're beating on your daughter. You had him there, right? You knew it was him. He knew it was Adam, but didn't know if it was Harmony, he said. Well, what's it matter? You're there to talk to Adam. You could have been like, hey, I need to see your daughter to make sure she's okay, right? So it don't matter if that kid was Harmony or not. What mattered was you made contact with the father, and what a piece of shit, right? What a piece of shit. Like, and you know, we wouldn't even be talking about Harmony Montgomery right now if that man would have done his job. So, and now I've heard that the CPS, now this is rumor, had been involved with this family. I say CPS, which is basically Child Protective Services. I don't know what it's called in Canada. Some states it's called DCS. Here it's called CPS, Child Protective Services. So I'm just going to go with CPS because, you know, that's where I'm from and it's easy for me to remember. I don't know what they call that service in Canada, but I hear that, you know, they had been involved with the people that protect children with this family before. I don't know the circumstances, but there's a lot of cases where Child Protective Services, CAS, okay, hiding the kids from CPS. There's a lot of cases where CPS fails these children. They don't do their job. They don't take these reports of abuse. Here in Rhode Island, it's called DCF. Okay. So we got CPS, which is Child Protective Services here in Virginia. It's called CAS, I believe, in Canada. All right. What is the CAS for? Child Assistance Services, or what is it? But a lot of times they fail these kids. Now I know these organizations have saved a lot of kids too, and we don't hear about that a lot. We don't hear about the good stories that come from, you know, getting that kid out of an abusive home and putting them somewhere else, and the kid doing great. Children's AIDS Society. Okay. Children's AIDS Society. So we don't hear about a lot of the good stories, but we do hear the horror stories. You know, everything has its good, everything has its bad. But our services, well, here in the States, I can't speak for Canada because I don't know, are overwhelmed. Okay. Our Child Protective Services in the United States is completely overwhelmed. There's not enough agents to go out and investigate. They're doing everything quick. They're not really doing the best that they can. I'm sure they're doing the best with what they got, right? But not doing the best that could be done. And a lot of things are happening here in the States because we don't have the best child protective services. There's this like placement of kids. Like here's a prime example. Leilani Simon was in trouble with CPS. They wanted to take the kids. She didn't really have nothing. So Billy Joe Howe adopted the kids, right? She took the kids in. Well, not adopted, but she was the parental guardian, caretaker for the children. But she allowed Leilani to live with her. The same girl that was accused of abusing the children. And then later on, Leilani unalived Quentin Simon. Now, if they take a child from a parent, that parent shouldn't be allowed in the household. Okay. And one of my biggest problems with Billy Joe Howe was that she allowed Leilani to continue to stay there when she wasn't properly caring for the children, which was fine because most of the time Billy Joe had a babysitter, right? The babysitter. Everybody remembers the babysitter from Georgia. Maybe Canadians don't, right? But situation went down in Georgia and they had a babysitter, and the babysitter was wonderful. Great parent, great mother, had her own kids, took care of the neighborhood kids. But Billy Joe went to work and wasn't there. And with that, Leilani and Danny canceled the babysitter. Okay. And them kids stayed home that day. And things went terribly, extremely wrong. But the reason they canceled the babysitter because that night they had threw Quentin Simon in the trash. Now I say they, but I mean Leilani. Okay. So, but CPS was involved in that case. CPS was involved in the Summer Wells case, and Summer Wells goes missing. CPS was involved in the Sebastian Rogers case. Sebastian Rogers goes missing. Okay. There's alleged rumors that I guess the CAS, okay, let's see, I'm learning, all right, was involved with this family, and now these kids are missing. Now, it don't seem too different from America and Canada now, does it? It's almost the same identical story, but two kids. And listen, usually predators, they have a preference. Like some of them like boys, you know, a lot more these days. Like I remember as a boy, it wasn't too scary as a kid because usually little girls got kidnapped when I was young, right? They didn't kidnap ugly boys. Now ugly boys are hiding a man. Okay, like you ain't even safe as a little boy, right? So now there's these monsters against little boys and little girls, but usually these people have a preference, okay? And usually crimes of this magnitude, even the Brian Kohlberger, we're learning it was a crime of, he's a sexual deviant, right? And we learned that lately, if you've been following the Brian Kohlberger stuff, that they went into his computer and they were finding all these images of girls and things like that. And what the types of things he was searching, pornography would, you know, I don't even want to go through it. It's pretty graphic of the stuff that he was watching. But to see his crimes and how he committed his crimes, you know, he's a sexual deviant. And I was pretty confident of that, because in the beginning, when everybody was blaming all the college students for the Idaho 4 murders, I said, hey, this ain't that. This is the work of a serial killer. It fits every profile of every profiler that ever profiled serial killers. And here's the thing. They haven't proved that Brian Kohlberger has killed anybody else. But I think he has. I still stand by he is a serial killer. And let's just say he ain't, that he didn't kill anybody. He would have killed again. He was already, in his mind, a serial killer. Like, he wasn't going to stop killing. He would have killed again. If they hadn't caught him, he would have killed again. So I believe still to this day, I'm right. I was right from the very, very beginning that this is the work of a serial killer. This is the work of a sexual deviant. It's no different than Ted Bundy. It's no different than a John Wayne Gacy. All their crimes are based on sexual fantasies. So a lot of these people that commit these horrible crimes, I would say 90% of them, that is the reason. It's sexual in nature, okay? So usually when people kidnap kids, they usually don't kidnap kids because they want a baby. It happens. You see that in the hospitals. That's why they put locks on the doors of the hospital, because somebody might not be able to have a kid. I'm going to snatch a kid. That does happen. But the majority of the time, people kidnap kids to hurt kids. And usually because they're the same thing. They're sexual deviants. And what about the Amazon driver? Y'all remember that? Recently? Amazon driver backed up, hit the little girl, threw her in the van, sexually assaulted her, and then unalived her. I mean, it's horrible. That was the Amazon driver, right? Y'all remember? Anybody remember that here in the States? So most of these people operate like that. And that's the reason. And I know a lot of people say I preach. It's crazy that I preach against this, is pornography. Like, because, you know, from all these serial killer books I've read, all of them have the one thing in common, that there's something sexual in nature to their crimes, right? And I say this, and people always give me a hard time that I believe Ted Bundy shouldn't have been killed. He should have been studied, because he would manipulate to benefit him, and he would also escape from jail. So people are like, well, what if he escaped and killed somebody else, right? But he told you openly that his perversion started with pornography. And pornography is so bad right now in the world we live in. Okay. And I ain't talking about the softcore shit that Ted Bundy was watching. I'm talking about extremely abusive, harmful things for children to see. And it becomes the norm, to where this was not the norm before. And if softcore porn was creating serial killers, what is the stuff that we're showing kids today? What is that creating? It's creating monsters. Monsters. There's certain things. Listen, I believe in freedom of speech and freedom of expression, but I think there's some things that go a little, oh shit, not a little, but a lot too far. Especially on some of these websites, you can type in almost anything in some type of pornography, It could be like kickball. You could type in kickball and something will come up with somebody doing something perverted with a kickball. I'm just saying it's anything. You can't type nothing on your computer without some type of pornography popping up. Try it, right? Look, anybody watching the P. Diddy trial? No. I mean, no, I'm not watching it. I don't give two shits about P. Diddy, right? Not my thing. What gets me is all these people that don't listen to rap music that are watching it, right? Don't know nothing about it, but they like court stuff, so they're watching it. So I mean, more power to P. Diddy, and I hope he gets what he deserves. He has destroyed lives. He's a murderer. He, like, if you know anything about P. Diddy, you know for the longest time he's a horrible ass shitty person. This ain't something new. P. Diddy didn't just start being bad. He's been bad since Biggie Smalls was alive. He's been bad since he started the East Coast, West Coast beef when he shot the dude in Atlanta and killed him. Okay? The dude is a murderer. He's done shot more people than I can count. All right? He ain't a good dude. Him messing with little kids and him, you know, even from jail, he said, and this goes into the horrible things about, you know, people doing things to kids, is he called his children and told his children to get rid of the pizza boxes and all the wrappers. What is that code for? Get rid of the evidence against me. Right? You're telling your kids, and he's teaching his kids. And listen, we live in a world where the elite are doing some of the sickest shit they can humanly do. And let me tell you this. You know why P. Diddy's going down? Because somebody more powerful than he is wants him to go down. Powerful people don't get taken out unless other powerful people want you gone. So whoever P. Diddy pissed off, it was a really powerful person, or he would continue to be doing the things that he's doing. The elite only knock the elite off. We can't, right? Us broke ass people can't, and we got no control of that. He messed around with somebody that's even more bigger and more powerful than he is. And you know, P. Diddy's worth $1 billion, right? Sean John, all that stuff. He's worth a lot of money. Somebody says Clyde Davis. Dolly, it was a FedEx driver, not Amazon driver. Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. It was FedEx. Okay, FedEx driver did it, not Amazon. Sorry, Amazon. Sorry. I'll still shop with you, right? I'll still shop with you. You're right. Thank you, potatoes. No, that ain't potato. I can't read. Grandma, thank you. But yeah, the elite are the only ones that can knock off the elite. And some of these rich people. Now listen, I don't want to get into the conspiracy world real quick, but I will just real fast. When you get so powerful, the elite need you to do something so horrible that they can tell on you, right? Just in case you ever try to blackmail them, they make you do something that they can hold over your head. All right. Now, P. Diddy, you know, we seen what he did to Biebs, Justin Bieber. I mean, he should have been in prison a long time ago. A long time ago. But people let it go. Right? But then once he ruffled the wrong feathers and they needed P. Diddy gone, all this information started pouring out on P. Diddy. And that's the elite clearing room. Okay. Dolly, are you going to do a show on that lady that left her kids alone for 5 years in the apartment? I don't know. I know I've had a lot of people asking me to cover the P. Diddy stuff because, you know, I'm an old school hip hop fan from way back. So I know so much about what went down with P. Diddy, Biggie Smalls, Tupac Shakur. I mean, I know the whole thing. I know everything P. Diddy's ever done. And some things he's been accused of and he got away with. You remember Shine when he shot the girl in the face? Y'all remember that? Anybody P. Diddy people? Please, not P. Diddy. He pulled out, he was in a nightclub and the girl was looking him straight in the fucking face. He pulls out a gun and shoots her in the face, right? Shoots her in the nose. And he blames it on Shine, right? He blames it all on Shine. Shine goes to prison for 9 years. He gets out, and P. Diddy don't even help him out. Mace says the same type of stuff about P. Diddy, that, you know, he had to get away from P. Diddy, that he's grimy. And I believe that P. Diddy may have some parts in the death of Biggie Smalls. Biggie was worth more dead to P. Diddy than he was worth alive. So I never trusted P. Diddy. I've never liked P. Diddy, right? Just, you know, I know it's way off topic, but I've never trusted that guy. I never liked him. I knew he was a scumbag from way back when the East Coast, West Coast beef started, when he shot the security guard at the nightclub in Atlanta. That's what started the fighting. It was him, right? And now we lose two of the best rappers the world has probably ever seen. Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls. I mean, and I love Biggie back in the day. I'm on the East Coast, right? So I was a huge Biggie Smalls fan. And to see Biggie get killed behind some fucking P. Diddy bullshit, it just blows my mind. So I hope he rots in prison, never gets out, that they strip everything his family has from him, because that's blood money. Everything that he got is from blood money. And he deserves every inch of what he's going through right now. And that's just the way I feel about it. But let's continue to spread awareness for these children, continue to share their photos. It looks like they have been taken from that property. Okay. Like I said, I'm not going to speculate if they were alive or dead, but we know that they're gone from that house. They're not in those woods. So that means these children could be just about anywhere. They could be in the States. They could be in different parts of Canada, possibly even abroad, right? These days, they put kids in shipping containers and they'll ship your ass right over to Pakistan. Don't think it don't happen. It absolutely does. 50's been calling it out for years. You're absolutely right. 50 Cent knew, right? He's been saying it for years. Surprised he ain't got, you know, shot a few more times. You know what I'm saying? He's been saying it for a while. Some people knew. Some people are not into messing with kids. They're not into this dirty perversion, right? They see it and they hint at it and they joke about it, but a little bit, there's a lot of truth in jokes, right? Like there's a little bit of truth in every joke that's told. And if you followed rap, especially old school rap, not this new shit, right? They all kill each other for no reason. They don't even need a reason. But the old school rap, you'll know how everybody is connected and how it all orchestrated, and how there's the elite in that, in the music world, there's the elite in the music world. There's certain people, and believe it or not, they're not gangster people, that run all this. Okay. And then they pour money into it, and it fuels gang rivals. It finances gang activity. And there's certain people that are celebrities that are financing a lot of these crimes that we see. A lot on the East Coast are financing a lot of this drug violence, and the drugs in the community are coming from high level people. All right. That's way off topic from missing kids, but maybe I will do a video on something like that, because there's a lot of things I could probably inform people on that's been happening that maybe they haven't noticed. Right? Or they didn't know these people were parts of this. There's a lot of high-powered people that are part of street gangs, and you may not know it, but before I started Dolly Vision, I had Jams TV. I covered criminal cases, RICO charges, entertainers that were caught up in gang activity, and most of my viewers were like gang people, right? And that's what I covered. So I talked about that. The 35,000 that on Jams TV, that's from me covering like Tekashi 6ix9ine in the RICO case, Jim Jones, Cardi B, and all these people that are financing drugs that are being sold on the streets. So a lot of these drugs that, especially on the East Coast, that are coming into our communities are being financed by certain high level people. And these people have been mentioned in different indictments, but have never been charged. Some of them are actually confidential informants for the federal government, and people don't realize that some of your bigger celebrities may be working with the feds. All right, and there's a lot of them, and people don't realize it, but that's just the nature of the beast. Okay, so continue to share these kids' pictures. These kids are out there somewhere, so keep your eyes open. Like, they may be not with us, but we know they ain't in the woods and they ain't in that trailer, so that means they went somewhere. And let's just pray to God that they what did that say? That they're alive. Okay. I seen somebody say, just look at Dolly's shirt. Okay. Yeah, I got the Boys in the Hood shirt on right now. Right? You know what I'm saying? I've been listening to NWA since I was 15 years old. Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, you name it. Okay. You name it. I know all the inside stuff on the whole rap world. I've always been a big fan of old school rap. I don't like the new shit. I just don't. I don't find it that good. I listen to both. I listen to old school rap and extreme metal, right? So, you know, your hardcore, your Anthrax, your Slayer, stuff like that. So I would listen to old school hip hop and then listen to extreme metal. So both of them two things, I'm pretty well educated in. All right. So I will see you guys later tonight for my regular scheduled program. So you guys be good. Stay safe. In the comment box, just let me know where you're watching from. Okay. Where you're watching my ugly ass from. And are these kids alive or deceased? That's what I want to know. Because right now, I don't know. I'm holding hope that they're alive. I thought they were deceased. I was like, they done did something. But when I started thinking about that they were put into a vehicle, the possibility that they could have been sold or placed somewhere, I'm just still holding hope that these kids are alive. So that's why I threw their pictures up today, because you never know. Burn these faces into your brain and keep a lookout, because these kids could be anywhere at this point. Dolly loves you. Peace.